Okay, I was going to lie to you, but I've since thought better of it. I was going to kind of gloss over some of the more disastrous corners in my home, but instead you're just going to get some messy spaces in this video. But we're going to go through things that you can declutter in March. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura, and before I dive into it, I want to give a very special shout out to LM, who is studying in college but has been watching my videos and learned about the KonMari method and watched my KonMari folding video, and from there has gone on to fold all his clothes that way. And because he's about to leave home and start a new adventure out in the world, he's packed his suitcase the KonMari way. I'm very excited for you starting out on this new adventure in your life, and I know that you are going to do incredible, amazing things. So best of luck. Okay, let me show you the disaster area that I was going to not show you. Okay, this is the space, and this is part of the first thing that I think that you should be decluttering in March, because we are coming to the end of a season essentially. So that is kind of seasonal decor, decorative things. This is where I dump a lot of it. I will show you in a second what I was going to show you, and just like ignore all this, but realistically this is the spot where I tend to dump things. Yeah, this is in the unfinished part of our basement. I just opened this door here and I chuck everything in. But we've just got over Valentine's Day, so maybe you have some kind of Valentine's decor lying around. We're coming up to St. Patrick's Day, very special to me being Irish. But if you are the type of person who has seasonal decor, you decorate for seasons, or you just have kind of like badges and banners and things like that lying around, now is a good time to dive in and go through that stuff and just weed out the things that aren't in the best condition anymore, or that you just don't want anymore. Let me show you what I was initially going to show you, and pretend that this was the only place that I kept seasonal stuff and not just this big heap here on the floor. This is it, this little stacking unit here. The whole idea initially was that each drawer would hold something for a particular holiday. So one would have like Easter stuff, one would have Halloween stuff, one might have, you know, St. Patrick's Day stuff. But it just got filled up with basically party supplies, paper plates, napkins, balloons, etc. So haven't actually used it for what I initially intended it for, and just ended up dumping the other stuff the other side of this HVAC system here. I'm not going to spend too much time here, and you don't need to either, but I'm just very quickly going to go through and see what I can let go of as we are coming into a new season, and hopefully actually transfer some of this stuff to the tub where it is supposed to be, or where I initially intended it to be. This is now looking much better. That only took a minute or so. I found a pair of shoes that I completely forgot that I had. These beauties. And this is all the stuff I'm going to be getting rid of. And we're just going to completely ignore all of this wrapping stuff here, because I need to get a new storage thing for it. The zip on this has broken. The second thing to declutter then is anything at your entryway. That might be shoes, bags. It's probably a drop zone for you. Right inside our front door we have a little shelf that just becomes a dumping ground for things. So that is another thing, again, to welcome in a new season. Clear your entryway. Outside for the next category then. Jovi's running around. Hey! You're all wet. Okay, calm yourself. Next category then is, because we're coming out of a season into a new season, particularly here in the Northern Hemisphere, because we've just come out of winter, now is a great time to declutter plants, flowers, vegetables, anything that is dead or dying. What are you doing? Get away from there. Get away. She just knocked my camera over and now it is destroyed. New shoes. Destroyed. Oh, this big mucky paw print I have down me now. It's just muck everywhere. Anyway, the next thing to declutter, besides your puppy, is resolutions that just no longer fit your lifestyle. So I know at the beginning of the year, particularly for me, I am full of excitement, full of enthusiasm, and I make these like massive resolutions, or they might not even be massive, but there just might be a lot of them. And then you get back into the regular routine of life, things change, things happen, and you realize 2-3 months in that those resolutions maybe are just not a priority for you, not a priority for you right now, or for some reason you're just not sticking with them. So with March being kind of the last month in the first quarter, now is a great time to reevaluate your resolutions, see if they still make sense for you, and if they don't, you can get rid of them, or at least push them off to next year. Oh, today is the first day of the year though that it is actually double digits in Celsius. Spring is on the way and I am so ready for it. Anyway, the next thing, food, stuff from your pantry. I will be decluttering this the natural way, by eating it. But let me tell you, March is marking, for most of us, 1 year since the global pandemic started and the world shut down, basically. So I want to talk a lot about pandemic related stuff, because I think a lot of us at the beginning of all of this bought things, stored things, stockpiled things that we thought we were going to need or that we thought we would use, and now a year later possibly are not. So maybe you went out in the beginning, I know I certainly did, and bought up lots of tinned food, stuff in cans, stuff that just does not go off because the reality was you didn't know when you were going to be able to get to a store again, or if you did, you didn't know if they were going to have stock of anything. So you may have just bought things that potentially you would not normally buy, but you bought them just in case. Now is a great time to go through your pantry. I did do a recent declutter of my pantry. I will link that video for you if you want to see it. But yes, today I shall be doing some natural decluttering. Speaking of lockdown then, another thing that you may have bought at the beginning was kind of projects or puzzles or bread makers, things that you thought you would do during lockdown. So activities, hobbies, craft related stuff. Listen, we're a year on now. If you haven't used that stuff, or maybe you used it in the beginning, but now not so much, go through all those types of things, jigsaw puzzles, games, whatever, go through and get rid of some of that stuff now. Anything that you're not using, anything that you did use and you know, excuse me, that you know that you're not going to use again, that all that stuff can go. Next up then is kitchen gadgets, utensils, anything like that. Bread maker that we bought, that my husband bought when lockdown first started. But if you have, actually look, my kitchen is a disaster right now. It's just the countertops are not. No. Anyway, again, during lockdown or just in general, you possibly bought things that are now in your kitchen that you do not need. Bread makers, hand mixery things, processors, blenders. You can tell I don't really cook, but go through your kitchen now and just take out 1 or 2 items that you know you're not going to use. While I'm in the kitchen then, I'm going to be tackling medication, vitamins, supplements, all those types of things. I keep mine just here above the fridge. I'm going to go through them. But again, maybe at the beginning of lockdown, you bought a lot of cold and flu stuff, fever stuff, pain relief, etc. Or again, because we're coming out of a season, you may have bought, depending on the season that you're in, again, cold and flu stuff, or it may have been allergy medication. But when was the last time you went through all of your medications, vitamins, etc.? Now is the perfect time to go through, get rid of anything that has expired. Here's a really quick tip for you. Actually, when I buy new medication, I take a marker and I write the expiry date in really big numbers, because very often it's written in like tiny little numbers somewhere out of the way where you can't see it. Whereas this makes it so much easier to go through stuff. You can see at a glance what has expired and what has not. So for me, these have expired and these can go. Also, I just use an old box that light bulbs came in. Use what you have, folks. for the next one then, we are heading out into the garage, out to my car. I think because of the pandemic, most people have either spent hardly any time in their car at all because they've been at home for the most part, or they have spent a lot more time in their car because that's kind of the only way that they can get out and about while still staying away from people. So maybe they've been going for long drives or driving somewhere where they can hike, etc. But now is a great time to declutter your car, the center console. Maybe you've just got stuff on the floors, in the back seat, in the boot / trunk, if that's what you call it where you are. But yeah, just go through, take out any trash or anything that you know should not be in the car. Oh, I do not need 3 pens and a broken mask in here. By the way, if you are going to be decluttering masks, just make sure that you snip the elastics on them so that they don't get all caught up in any wildlife or anything. So yeah. This has been a rough year. It's been very tough for everyone, and you know, with people trying to maybe work from home, work in a completely different environment than they're used to, maybe homeschool or just trying to sort out virtual school. Maybe your kids are half virtual, half in school, which is what my kid is. There's just a lot going on. So another thing that I want you to declutter is expectations. You don't need to have such high expectations for yourself because it's just not possible to do all of the things all of the time. And I say this as a perfectionist. Go easy on yourself. This is a whole new world. We're all trying to find our feet and figure out how to function in this new reality that we're in. So let those expectations, those high expectations that you have, go and just do the best that you can, and your best will change from day to day. You know, some days you will have it all together and everything will run smoothly, and other days it just won't, and you have to give yourself grace for that. We are all muddling along as best we can. I will link loads more decluttering videos for you if that is your jam. If it is, you should subscribe because that's what I'm all about as well, helping you live a more spacious life. But let me know, how are you feeling now that we are a year into this pandemic, lockdown, etc. And what season are you coming into? Almost spring here. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones and I'm so excited about it. Until next time, go raibh míle maith agaibh. Agus feicim mé sibh sigalua. Slán.